What is up everyone, and welcome back to a new video. Now in this video I'm going to be talking about the opening of the operation, so the beginning, obviously what's happened so far, where I think it can and should go, and overall what my feeling is about it. Now what I'm going to start with is what I think of the beginning of it. Now at least for the first week I thought it was awesome, co-op operations similar again to our last operation we had, which I believe was Hydra, started off with a good mission. However, that was the only mission apart from the final week. And that's kind of what we've seen again. So we've obviously got like Guardian kind of thing. So 2-player missions and stuff like that at the moment. Now for me, this is great if you have a duo partner. However, if you're someone stuck in the solo queue constantly, it might be a bit harder for you to actually get stars and play these. That's what I found over the last few weeks. The first week, I had someone who actually played it with me. However, now I've been left playing solo, so I've been doing all the other missions, which is obviously competitive, throwing smokes and stuff like that. And basically, the whole operation is centered around getting you to play other game modes apart from just jumping into competitive or playing the TDM and then going into a competitive. So from my point of view, what I'd actually really like to see is a lot more co-op operations. This could even be done by the community. There have been some actually great maps designed, and I feel if Valve actually communicated and maybe said, hey, we're doing a competition in which you can create a map for the story, here's the script or whatever, make it and then we'll judge it, I think that would actually be a lot better, because then you'd have a lot more variety and you'd be able to play just play it like an operation, almost like a story campaign. As obviously Counter-Strike doesn't have that, and it's not that kind of game. However, it would be really nice to see something along those lines, because to me it's just a bit stretched out. It's like two little campaign missions at the beginning and at the end, and for me that's something I'd really like to see changed and go throughout the operation so it has a more of a solid theme. Now of course also within this we've seen the introduction of retakes, which is obviously what you're seeing now, and for me I really like this. I never used to play TDM. My main thing would be, okay, how am I going to warm up? I'm actually going to do retakes, because usually you'll find a higher skill level there, players who are probably going to jump into competitive as well, and for me it was just a really good thing to do and practice retaking sites, which is obviously a key thing, especially if you're playing CT. But even if you're playing T, it's really important. I really like the fact that they have one side with a player down. Makes it a bit more of a challenge, and probably makes it more realistic. If you were taking a site, you're probably more likely to take a few more casualties, and obviously your opposition are rotating into you. My only additional request to this would maybe be add a few more grenades and a bit more variety overall to the weapon choices. But apart from that, I personally love it. It's something I'll continue to use as long as it's still in the operation. And yeah, I think it's just a good addition to Counter-Strike overall. Now, of course, with any operation comes a bit of a mix-up. Obviously, we've just had Cache kind of recently introduced. However, obviously, 4 new maps, and the 5th map is actually for the new co-op in which I was talking about. So those are obviously Ancient, Apollo, Engage, Frostbite, and Guard, which is the co-op map. Now, for me, these maps are okay. My personal favourite is probably Apollo, because it plays similarly to a CS map, and it has the kind of 3-lane basic structure of any first-person shooter map, so it's very easy to navigate. However, it does have some good choke points. Haven't tried smokes on it, so maybe that's something I will try out. However, for me, that's the one that works the best. I haven't really played a lot of them apart from Engage as well, because obviously that is in the Guardian missions and I've played a competitive of it, so I can't really speak much on the other ones, but I think overall they're good. However, I just hope it's not going to be a thing where we see it now and then they're never going to get developed again and they're just going to disappear off the face of the earth, like maps like Submarine, I believe the last one was called, because I honestly can't even remember, based on just how easily they basically drop maps, and we've had the same maps for so long. So for me, what I'd really like to see from this is the evolution of these maps, fixes, and then actually keep them in the game. For me would be really key if you want to basically expand your horizons and not keep playing the same thing over and over again, which does get tedious after a while. Additionally is the ping system, which pretty much every battle royale has at this point. Again, I don't know if they've banned it for competitive now. I believe they actually have. However, for me, I think this shouldn't be a thing in the game. It kind of ruins, the whole point of callouts if you're just pinging stuff. I understand it if your team aren't talking and you're at a lower level. However, I would say you should really be at a level where your whole team speak if you're able to ping essentially where the enemy are. It's kind of the same thing. It's been done in BRs, and I understand it for Danger Zone. However, I don't understand it for Counter-Strike competitive content, basically. Now, I'm not really a person who cares about skins. I don't have many. My most expensive skin is $20, I would say, and I think I got gifted that. However, I would just like to reference the Op Fade, which has been selling for $1,400 recently. So that was probably literally the most notable thing from the collection. Wasn't really an amazing collection. There are a few good guns, but there are always a few good guns, and then the rest are kind of meh. So again, not really the biggest fan of that. But overall, as I've kind of said, I think the operation's good, but what really needs to happen is expansion. You see what works and what doesn't work, and not just sack it off at the end of this operation if you want to expand the game. And I feel like that's what CSGO really misses out on these operations. It's a learning experience, or it should be a learning experience for them in which to further develop their game. However, it never seems to actually happen like that. We always just get a few good things, a few bad things. So for me, what I'd really like to see is a few of these maps further developed. Maybe even just put into scrimmages to replace the current ones. But yeah, that's my kind of overriding opinion on the whole operation so far. It's good where it's going. You know, I'm enjoying the missions. Some of the characters are pretty cool. You know, if they're going to introduce skins, might as well make them as good looking, as long as it doesn't change the hitboxes or the integrity of the overall game in terms of, you know, like the old operation again. Can you see them on the actual map? Then for me that's fine. But yeah, that's my kind of overall opinion on it. So to kind of summarize again, I like what's going on at the moment. However, they just need to keep on developing it past the 16 weeks of the operation. It's 4 months, but you need to, if you're not going to have an operation for another year and a half, you need to stretch that, you know, 4 months of, let's say, learning into a year of development of what the community say they want, because realistically this is going to be the time when most people are playing Counter-Strike at this time. But yeah, those are my overall thoughts of the operation so far. Obviously I haven't touched on everything. I obviously haven't talked about the pick and ban system or anything like that. I think I'm personally going to play it a bit more so I understand it a bit more fully, and a few other additional things. But yeah, that's my kind of thoughts on how CSGO should handle these kind of things in the future, and also what I think they're currently doing right and what they're also doing wrong as well. But anyway, hope you guys did enjoy the video, and I hope to see you in the next one.